Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another live stream. My name is Toby.
My name is Heidi.
And before we begin and say hi to everybody, I just want to go over a couple of things right now. Now, this is a whale alert. A dormant address containing 407 Bitcoin, which is $15,460,000, has just been activated after 8.3 years worth. It was worth $355,000 in 2013. So, is that something to worry about? I would say no, because this happens a lot.
Exactly.
This happens a ton, and a lot of big people who are probably want cheaper prices try to scare people out of their coins and go, hey, these guys are trying to sell. These guys are in the know. No, that's not true at all. You have to look between the lines and go, okay, this is just somebody that might want to take some profit, somebody that might have just found their private keys. You don't know. I mean,
they also do it sometimes just to bolster their security of their coins. They change wallets. As wallets improve over time, their security increases, and so they change to different options. And for those of you wondering what the heck is going on with my voice, we were partying pretty hard last night, and I lost it.
All right, so I'm going to do most of the talking here. All right. Also, moving on to crude oil. Okay, so we've have incredible amounts of inflation right now, and a lot of people are going to be hurt, and a lot of people will continue being hurt. All right. So WTI crude just hit like over $130, and now it's back down to like $118. So now this is just crazy amounts of inflation. And think about it this way. Okay, so. Where is it? Wheat futures are up 11% today. They were up 11%, which extended 2020's gain for 48%. So that means inflation, real inflation, wheat has gone up 48%, which is horrible. You know, like the middle class is absolutely being destroyed right now. And that's not some crazy conspiracy like that they're being destroyed. Their savings are in dollars, and those people that are saving their money in dollars are getting absolutely obliterated. And this is what central banks kind of want. You know, that's the whole point of this Federal Reserve being born. So watch out. I would definitely, that's why we're going to hold Bitcoin for the rest of our lives pretty much, because that is our key to getting out of that debt-based system, which is the US dollar and the ECB.
Yeah, it's a long-term play for sure with Bitcoin.
Yeah. So
and how you adjust your life to accommodate that.
Yeah. So and 73% of institutional investors have figured this out, and wealth managers believe that Bitcoin is a viable hedge against inflation. And this is coming. This was a survey. I don't know where the survey came from, but. Like this, it's actually, there's many surveys like that where about 50 to 70% of institutional investors and wealth managers are saying that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's definitely coming on, and more people are going to start taking Bitcoin. More and more people are going to want to hold Bitcoin. And I think one of the reasons why a lot of these companies like eBay and Amazon and Google and Apple will eventually be taking on Bitcoin is to get people's Bitcoin. I think that's one of the reasons, because they realize that Bitcoin is the hardest money in the face of the planet. Can't print it. It's global. It's permissionless. You don't have to ask for permission from any government. You don't have to go through SWIFT. You don't have to go through SEPA or anything like that. You know, it's completely. It's the most prime property right the world has ever seen, because nobody can actually take it from you. Governments have no say in that. So. Mm-hmm. That is really cool. Anyways, let's get into some people.
Welcome to Crypto Tips, everyone.
Yeah, I don't know if I said welcome to Crypto Tips yet.
Every Monday at noon Eastern Time, we are live talking to
Monday.
You.
Yeah.
And please don't mind that I sound like a prepubescent teenage boy right now.
All right, so Dragon Ball, good to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
Harlan Way, good to see you. Hey,
also,
Heidi.
I already addressed that. Nick, if this background is for you, buddy. So there you go. Got some mountains for you.
Thank you. I really actually enjoy the background. Let's also, Nomad Capitalist said something really cool. So Nomad Capitalist, if you don't know, he deals with like citizenships, getting tax-free lives. He helped us, even though he didn't help us directly. we learned a lot from him, which enabled us to become tax-free. So we pay zero income tax.
He has a lot of like free information available on his YouTube channel and Twitter.
Yeah, so he says on Twitter, he says, forward-thinking Bitcoiners like blockchain chick, Heidi, exited high-tax countries when their chips were low, which means when we didn't have that much money. With strategic residence, tax residence, and citizenship in place to be able to ride future profits all the way up tax-free. Follow their lead. Don't wait until new all-time highs. So shout out to that guy. We are actually going to his conference. Heidi's going to be a speaker at his conference in Mexico City in September.
Yeah,
so really
September 21st to 24th.
Yeah.
So check out the tickets for that.
All right, so I'm done taking the.
Uh-oh. I have 23 minutes to fill with my voice. Okay, so let's talk about FTX and Binance. Each of these are kind of expanding. FTX is now in Europe and available for some Middle Eastern countries. So that's pretty promising for those of you who are invested in FTT, the token, and for those who are using FTX. Maybe this will help those more liquidity and more maybe coins being listed. And with Binance, those of you who remember last summer, they stopped the SEPA and for Europe and in I believe the UK, they stopped payments, but now those are back again. So for those of you who are in Europe and you're using Binance.com, you couldn't do bank transfers to withdraw or deposit coins onto Binance. That was happening after all of the countries around the world were slapping the regulations on Binance. So now they are now regulatory compliant, and so now they can offer these services back again. So that's good news. And also, let's talk about what happened with Phantom and Andre Cronje. That's the major DeFi dev that has left crypto, and he deleted his Twitter account.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Phantom.
Yeah.
Okay, and Phantom is not Andre
Phantom.
Cronje.
Yeah.
Let's separate the two here, because that's what people are not really going over. They're like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
he left. What do you think about that?
Well, there's a lot of misinformation. A lot of people saying that he's stopping all the project that he was a part of. Those projects are still going to be carried on by the numerous people who are contributing to the code for those projects. He himself is just stepping down. For example, with YFI, a lot of people thought that meant that it was over, when in fact he hadn't contributed to YFI in over a year. They have 50 full-time developers working on it and 140 part-time people working on it as well. So it's definitely in good hands, and it's been functioning for the past year without him, so it shouldn't be that much of a difference, actually.
Well, a lot of people are taking out of their capital.
Sure.
So I think the TVL, the total value locked, actually dropped 30-something% in 7 days, which is quite a lot. And it's just people that don't really understand the market, in my opinion.
So maybe YFI is going to have some new incentive programs to get people to put their money back in. Maybe they're going to be offering higher percentages, to get people back.
But also during this time, this is a really good time for Luna or AVAX to gain popularity and gain TVL, which is really good because like our CT club. We've been buying Luna for a very long time, and we loaded the boat when it was around like $48 to $50. And I'm like, guys, I'm buying here. Yeah. And boy, that was a good buy. So if you want to check us out on our CT Club, the link is below. You can check out our trade alerts and market updates, which actually give a lot of market updates, because now is really difficult time to figure out what's going on in the world. And, I've been in this space for 9 years. I understand the space. I've been studying governments for the past 15, 16 years or whatever, 20 years. And, I understand kind of where they're heading. And usually what you see around the world happening isn't really the main thing. It's usually a symptom instead of the root cause of something. So, Yeah, like for instance, all of this inflation, we have central banks saying, oh, it's because, corporate greed or whatever. That's why inflation is going. That's why steel went up 165% last year. Really? I think it's actually because the Federal Reserve printed 40% of all currency that has ever existed over the past 11 months. That's pretty much what happened. So, you have to get through the lies and get through all the propaganda and crap. And I think I've got a good handle on that. And that's why I've been getting so many alerts. Our CT Club, thanks for putting up with that. All your emails in your inbox and whatever. So anyways.
Yeah. I just have one last thought to talk about what happened with Andre Cronje and how his kind of ripple effect is affecting obviously these other DeFi platforms. It's the reverse of what happened when he pretty much stamped his name on a lot of these DeFi projects. He was either actively helping build or being an advisor for. Is that it's a type of centralization, actually, when people just see a name and then they pour money into it, like what happened with Eminence. $15 million was poured into that smart contract before anything was actually released or like official. And then it was hacked for all $15 million. And thankfully, I guess the hacker gave back $8 million. So people just invested in it because they thought Andre Cronje had what is it called? The Midas touch, where everything he touched turned to gold. There's been a few people in this space that have had that effect on crypto.
Or the opposite effect, like Musk.
He does whatever he wants. He's not actually building anything in crypto either. He's just talking about it. But like, for example, I'm so bad. I'm spacing on his name. He created BitShares first and then Steam It and then EOS. Dan Larimer. Yeah. A lot of people kind of like a cult following followed him from one project to the next. He's an entrepreneur, but that's what they do. They move on basically. But a lot of people invest and they get emotionally invested and monetarily invested in what they're doing, and they think that's the end all be all because they have so much faith in this one person. And he could just up and leave. And so that was like, the effect as he entered, and now as he's exiting, a lot of these dominoes are falling, but they're not really falling because there's actually plenty of other people that are building these platforms. So it's just a reminder for you guys to not have too much faith in any one person in this crypto. And especially, that's why I'm also a fan of anonymity,
Exactly. So Satoshi Nakamoto, nobody knows who it is. We kind of know who it is.
But even that's also a great example. So many people put so much weight on all of his emails and all of his communications. They're trying to read between the lines of what he was saying and what he really meant by that. Yeah. It's so much, importance on what he did when it honestly doesn't matter at this point, because whether or not he's around, his word is not the Bible,
Exactly.
So it could be whatever whatever you want it to be.
But it's great. It's a gift knowing that he is not in the scene. You know what I mean? Like what he's done. I mean, he had a million
definitely.
Bitcoin or whatever. Like he's left it there. Whether he's died or not, whether he's frozen, who knows? Hal Finney, that's probably who I'd
Don't
expect.
Don't keep saying it's Hal Finney.
Hal Finney, I think he is, So, anyways, there's a good question right here. Eden Ferreira says, "Hi, Toby and Heidi. Portugal seems like one of the few countries that still don't tax crypto. Do you guys think it will remain like this? How does the government see crypto there? Thanks. I think it's going to remain there for a year or so. So
long term, we have no idea.
Long term, we don't.
They're definitely going to tax it. We just don't know how much.
Exactly. But we don't care. We don't care either way.
We're going to take advantage of it while we can. That's my point of view.
And even if they decided to go ahead and tax crypto here, there's plenty of ways around taxes, guys.
Yeah.
Legal ways around taxes, which means going offshore. There's perfect.
Especially if you're not a U.S. citizen.
Yeah. If you're not a U.S. citizen,
and your nation doesn't tax your global income, that's even easier for you to remedy.
Yeah, definitely. So, but if you are a U.S. citizen, I think it's going to be very difficult for you to legally not pay taxes, income tax. But I think there is a way, though, that Maria, our lawyer, never mind.
To be determined.
To be determined.
We're working on something.
We're all learning. Anyways.
So you guys, before we get into our next topic, please, if you have a question for us, started off by saying question in all caps so it catches our eye. So go ahead and give us your questions now, and then we're going to get into the next topic, and then we'll get back to your questions too.
Oh, really quickly, are we still bullish on render? Yeah, absolutely. There's still going to be movies being made, especially nowadays where people want to escape reality, you know, and people want to kind of go into the metaverse as well. There's rendering that has to be done through that, especially through movies and whatever. So yeah, and definitely, and since it decentralizes things and people probably will not have the budget as they used to have because things are so expensive, I think that decentralized rendering is going to be definitely the future. And I mean, look at who's backing it. It's like some of the biggest people out there. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Another good question. Sorry, I can't help it. You guys have great questions. Excuse me.
Go for it.
What big projects are too centralized and will fall victim to government overreach? You can speculate all you want there's obviously some very centralized projects out there, but a really big hint that you can take away is which ones are making a lot of changes to avoid that right now, and they're actually becoming more decentralized. Which ones are positioning themselves to be like friendly towards the government or like being very open to being regulatory compliant, like XRP, for example. We'll get into that. So yeah, XRP, we're always saying, is more centralized than we would like it to be. It's one of many that are very centralized. There's a lot of talk about how centralized Ethereum could be as well, and I should actually do a deep dive on that. But
that sounds good.
You know, most of the time you have some warning signs, so you can like move your coins accordingly. But anyway, so let's get into what's happening with Ripple, because now there's all these articles saying, the SEC versus Ripple is going to be ending November of this year, of 2022. And a lot of people think that because Ripple has agreed to basically extend their, what's it called? Their, their lawsuit until November. A class action suit until November. Basically, they're expecting their case against the SEC to be done by then at least.
November 18th.
But that is no guarantee. They could always extend it again. So I feel bad for a lot of people who are holding heavy bags of XRP at this point, because a lot of them, once this is settled, XRP can be listed on a lot of different exchanges again. Liquidity can open up. People can sell if they want to. People can buy it back. So it's probably going to be pretty volatile for XRP whenever that happens, but probably it's going to be pretty bullish.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who are holding these heavy XRP bags are going to be trying to read between the lines to find the best case scenario for anything. So now there's all these bullish articles saying it's going to be done this year. It's going to be done in November, but who knows really. But one thing I came across as I was reading these articles to go over for today is that what struck me and what I referenced earlier, like 2 minutes ago, was how Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple Labs, he wanted to dispel rumors of Russia using XRP to bypass the SWIFT exclusion and other sanctions. As stated by Mr. Garlinghouse, RippleNet unequivocally abides by international law and the sanctions by the U.S. Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control. So it has to be centralized for them to have that type of control of who can and cannot use that network. So
you could not do that with Bitcoin.
They shouldn't be, and not only that, but it's like, should you impose that restriction on people just because Toby and I were having
they're getting pinched.
A conversation about this. Like, everyone has to have a political opinion, no matter what business you're running, whether or not you're actually directly involved with that or not. It's, a symptom of social media life now. Everyone has to know what you stand for, and everyone has to be with the same values, regardless of, again, how relevant that is to the product or service you're trying to provide to people.
But,
and so,
yeah. But I also think that, Brad is, wanting a positive outcome with the SEC ruling.
Exactly.
So why wouldn't he put that out there?
I am so friendly. I am so,
Exactly. Go for it.
Compliant.
Yeah. So, it's just kissing butt, in my opinion, and which sucks because, I don't want to hold a coin that somebody can just turn it off.
Exactly.
No, why would
You know
I
how
want
many
that?
Russians are against the war?
Exactly. Why would I
And
want to
they're
hold
gonna-
like U.S. dollars, like
yeah.
a CBDC or
They're
a
gonna
central
be-
bank digital currency? Because that's what it's
Yeah.
going towards,
Even
guys.
Kraken, a centralized exchange, Kraken is against blanket banning Russians from using their platform because it's immoral. Like
Yeah.
there's also no legal reason to do so either. It's just like this kind of unspoken pressure to do so because again, you have to be politically correct.
Yeah. But that's where I see Bitcoin actually thriving. Eventually, people are going to get it and go, oh, wait a second. We can send Bitcoin without anybody's permission. So, anyways.
Yeah.
Sean Byrne, thanks for the $10.
Thanks for the super chat.
Really appreciate it, man. Awesome.
Here's a
Greg Tallon, 44. Thank you,
Yeah.
man. Question: if you had to pick one, Exodus with Trezor or Coinbase with Ledger? Very new to crypto space. I'm one of your Patreon members. Well, thank you so much.
So Coinbase actually, it's a centralized exchange. You can't directly connect your ledger to it, so that's not even an option. In my opinion, if you're using Trezor or Ledger, with Ledger, it's actually integrated with a lot of different DeFi platforms. It makes it very user-friendly to keep your coins stored still on your hardware wallet and still interact in really flexible ways with your crypto. Trezor has a huge upside also. It's open source. There's some questions on exactly how secure it is. Personally, I don't think any of the issues found with Trezor are debilitating to it or a real concern for anyone who's using Trezor. I still consider that one to be a very secure hardware wallet as well. So in your case, I would say Exodus with Trezor. Basically if you're using a hardware wallet, that is what is storing your coins, and anything you're kind of pairing it with, like for example, Exodus, that is just like the interface that you're using to interact with your coins. Exodus isn't storing your coins. Your coins are in the hardware wallet, and you're using a different interface to just like make the transactions. Yeah.
Ayush says, what is this offshore thing? Can you please share it in CT Club someday? I'm from India and looking for ways to save tax. For sure. We'll
basically, it just means that you're banking outside of the country that you're living in, basically, or that you're a citizen of, or that you're residing in.
Yeah. So, for instance, we are planning on incorporating our CT Club to make it into learningcrypto.com. And so in order to do that, we need to incorporate. And we found that St. Kitts is very friendly towards corporations tax-wise. So that is one of the key things. So, yeah.
Mark had a question. What are your thoughts on Cardano? I actually was reading an article about it today, and I had to laugh. If you're in the RCT Club, you know our recent movements with Cardano and maybe our reasons why. But I was reading an article today, and it just kind of hammered it home. It proved, I don't know. I'm okay with it. So anyway, the article, there's always people who are against Cardano or whatever, sick of Cardano, are always saying, oh, it's all promises. It's vaporware. They're not actually doing anything. And so like the article title was something like, Cardano's biggest code drop is going to happen soon. Like they're going to finally, they're going to put out some code. And it said they have a lot of announcements. It said they have a lot of announcements about what's going to happen on their roadmap. They're going to be doing code drops in February, in June, and also in October to have predictable blockchain improvements so that the people who are building on it know what to expect when these big improvements will be happening. And the whole time they're saying this February code drop will happen soon. It will happen soon, and it's going to be predictable. It's March 7th, and they're saying that the February code drop hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but to be fair, Ethereum also, is pretty similar. They're always missing.
With Ethereum 2.0, sure.
And so my rebuttal is like, hey, listen, you want something to be safe, you want something to be secure, and so that I will give them
You know what the safest code is? Unpublished code.
Exactly.
So that's what we're working with Cardano.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm being like a really skeptical. There's gonna be a lot of hate on this from what I'm saying.
Which
about
is
Cardano.
fine. Bring it on.
I'm just blowing off some steam. Let's be honest.
But with me, you know, I also understand that code does take time. It's not just straightforward, and you don't want bugs to be in it. You want to make sure it's flawless, because otherwise you get things like, you know, there's bugs in everything, like Solana when it was down for 48 hours. And
a couple times.
So that was, or a couple times. Exactly. So it's good to have, you know, a pretty steady network. And so that's my positive thing that I have to say about Cardano is that, okay, hopefully that is the reason for them to be late in this and not just like.
And that's also what we're always saying is we can't wait to have something happening on Cardano.
I can't wait. Seriously, I can't wait.
And it's not being sarcasm. That's genuine. No. We cannot wait to see what they do.
Exactly.
Any other questions? We've got to talk. Oh, there's also one more thing I want to talk about too. I found this article titled "Whale Stablecoin Buying Power Grew over 7% in 1 month." Here's what it means.
Thanks.
Coughing a few times. I am not
she's
contagious.
She's not sick.
Anything.
She's just talked a lot.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Basically, it's saying people who are holding Tether of amounts of 10,000 to 10 million added another 1.06 billion worth of Tether to their wallets in the last month. So what that means is maybe they're taking profits from their other positions, but they're not exiting crypto. They're keeping it in Tether for buying power. So that's what they're saying is buying power is increasing. They're waiting for a lower price. And then that support will be kicking in because there's all this Tether or stable coins ready to go to purchase crypto again.
I also think that a lot of this went into UST as well. So depending on, like, for instance, if you want to get into Tether, you know, I think a lot of people are actually going into UST because of, I think it's like 20 billion total value locked now. So it's like it bypassed, or Luna bypassed, what do you call it? Binance. So, which is pretty crazy. Like, I did not expect that, especially when we were buying low. I did not expect Luna to really bypass so much. And because I guess it's a decentralized stable essentially. So anything decentralized right now, why wouldn't you want? Especially, I mean, Tether can be considered very centralized or whatever, and governments could potentially shut that down. You don't know. You know, like we've been in Tether for a long time now, since like 2016, pretty much 17, and you know, we're just constantly hearing noise about, okay, Tether doesn't have this. Tether doesn't have this. Okay, you know, this government agency is looking at Tether right now. So it's kind of like a breath of fresh air to see UST. So it's good to have these options. You know, you have centralized options, decentralized options, and plus Tether or UST. If you put it on Anchor Protocol, they're giving like 19.4% APR. So consider this: like, people are in bonds or whatever, they're getting like 4 or 5%. Like, that's a joke. That's not even keeping up with CPI inflation, consumer price index. We're not even including everything else. So obviously people that are in bonds are getting destroyed right now. And their purchasing power is getting destroyed. So now people are, you know, looking at 19.5%, or even like on BlockFi, USDT is at 9.5%. So you can just go to so many places and make money on a stable, which is great. So yeah.
Timothy, I am drinking hot water with lemon and honey. I'm trying to do whatever I can for my voice. Also, somebody asked about
Engine. Yes, Engine's going to be the future, definitely part of it.
We're still pretty bullish on Engine.
I think a lot of people are going to sell Metaverse coins. Metaverse is going to go up, down, whatever, crazy, volatile, especially when Bitcoin's out of control right now. Or not out of control, just like in the slump. And, you know, people are worried. But until then, you know, I think that the Metaverse will eventually get out of this mess and go to all-time highs after that. So, yeah.
Also, someone had a question referencing a tweet I did, was it yesterday, the day before, talking about KYC as a scam.
Total scam.
And what is the risk of using Ledger Live to purchase cryptocurrency? because they've now integrated with a lot of different centralized and decentralized exchanges. And what's important to note is that, yeah, if you don't want Ledger Live to be collecting your data, don't be connecting to a centralized exchange through it. Also, it's not directly Ledger Live KYCing you. It's the centralized exchange that you're interacting with. Basically, it's like, I forget the name of the centralized exchange that they've partnered with right off the top of my head. But let's say it's not Binance, but let's say it is Binance. You go on Ledger Live and you click on the link to purchase and you can click on Binance. And you're like kind of accessing Binance through Ledger Live, but it's Binance. It's the same as going to like Binance.com, but you're like directly interacting with your ledger in that point. So it's more convenient. It's more secure in terms of storing your crypto, but maybe it's not, as anonymous or privacy protecting as doing it the other way, where you're keeping it separate. So if you're really interested in separating your activity from your hardware wallet, don't use a centralized exchange on Ledger Live. That's easy. Also, always use a VPN, please. With any activity you're doing with cryptocurrencies, use a VPN. We use Mullvad, MULLVAD.
And you can pay in Bitcoin, and they don't ask for your email address.
They don't ask for anything.
Good.
So that's
what you want.
Exactly.
If you have a VPN that asks you for your email address or
what is the point
anything,
of the
even
VPN?
your name, get rid of it.
Or like
it's
they make
just
you
garbage.
pay with a credit card. What's the point of
Yeah,
that?
exactly.
Yeah.
Peter Kirsten said, official CPI equals 7%, but really CPI is greater than 14%. Yeah, it's greater than that. It's greater than, think about it. The S&P rose about, 34% last year. And that's CPI, that's monetary inflation. That's actually the Fed Reserve printing all of this currency. So unless you were in the stock market or something else, or real estate or something that's giving you money that way, or giving you an income that way, you've lost money. You've lost a bunch of money. Say, for instance, you had $1 million and that's sitting in say, cash. All of 2021, if you had $1 million sitting in cash, you are now down $340,000 in purchasing power. This is how much inflation is going to happen, and you haven't seen anything yet, because wars, what do? They are good for printing currency. Central banks love war. They salivate at this stuff. So what are they going to do? They're going to print and print and print. All governments are going to print a bunch of currency, and it's going to inflate even more. And eventually they're going to collapse their currency or transition it into a central bank digital currency, which I discussed before, which will be linked to your bioidentity, just like China. And it will be somewhat like a social credit score. So they have full control over your lives, essentially, because if you do not own Bitcoin or any decentralized money, then that's your toast. Say, for instance, they don't like what you posted on social media. Well, you can't access your bank account. Oh, another thing, if CBDCs are also good for spurring the economy for governments. So say, for instance, a government wanted to spur the economy. Well, they could put an expiration date on your currency. Can you believe that? Imagine holding something that they're putting an expiration date for on your currency. So they're forcing you to spend your hard-earned money on something you probably don't need. Yeah, not for me. I don't want anything to do with it, and I will be warning people for the rest of my life from that stuff. Anyways.
Jeff asked, how is the wine in Portugal? It's delicious. Red wine, white wine. They also have Vino Verde, which is delicious. It's like a young wine. It's like a sparkling wine. It's kind of unique to Portugal. But anyway, any last points, Toby?
Guys, just take all of your coins off of centralized exchanges for the most part.
If you're not trading them and it's just for storage, get it in a better wallet.
Get them off. We have a link below if you want to get a Ledger Nano X, which is our favorite one. Actually, it's pretty much the only one that we've used. We started using Ledger a long time ago.
I tried using KeepKey and it just wasn't very user friendly in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was your experience.
Use
I'm
Ledger.
sure somebody else might like a keep, but
Eh.
yeah. Ledger Nano X is pretty awesome. So yeah, check it out. Anyways, guys, thank you. It was a pleasure, and please stay disobedient.
And like
Please
and
say that.
subscribe. Have we said that?
Yeah,
We're
we didn't. We
horrible
never
at
say that,
saying
but please like and subscribe
No
if you
one's
like
watching
videos like this.
anymore.
All right, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Love you.